Welcome to the More Money Than Brains channel. The other day I showed you my other toy that I bought, the GSG 1911. Today, broke down, couldn't resist, bought the Norinco NP22. Sorry, it's upside down. It just makes it easier to open up the package. Now, why did I buy the Norinco? Because I do a lot of work at the club where I have to bring guests. And unfortunately, I don't like to use my good firearms all the time. It's nice to have something that's inexpensive, not too expensive to fire as far as a 9mm. It's better than the 40s and the 45 calibers that I have. And it's a little bit more fun than perhaps just shooting a 22. So as you saw inside, we had the manual, and here's the pistol. The case is actually quite nice. I was quite surprised at a cheap case, but yet it's actually quite good. Now in Canada, you can't transport firearms without a trigger lock, and this is the type of trigger lock they put in. It's one of these screw type locks that has the two little holes in it, and you need one of these keys to open it up. So I made this little tool, which makes it real easy to take off. There you go. Takes a second or so, and there we have it. The Norinco NP22, which is basically a 6-hour 226 copy. Actually, it's a copy of the 6-hour 226 pre-1994, I believe. And if you were to look at the internals of it, you can see it's the old style 6-hour. And up here, we also noticed that the new 6-hour magazines do not fit this pistol. So if you have 6-hour magazines that are new, they will not fit this pistol. Now, let's do a safety check. And there you can see, pistol is clear. I'm just looking inside for the first time. It's actually pretty nice. Can't complain too much. There's a lot of machine work that's kind of not 100%. It's obviously not a 6-hour. I mean, this was $369 regular price. Got it for $329. So not complaining. So that way, if people drop it or something happens at the range, not too worried about it. It operates pretty much exactly the same as a 6-hour P226. As you can see, there's 4 buttons on this side. One is the slide lock, 2 is the magazine release, the takedown lever, and this one, which is a decocking mechanism. It allows you to drop the hammer safely while the pistol is loaded. So by pushing it down, you can see that the hammer came down. Now, a lot of these Norincos have a very loose hammer, according to a lot of people on the internet. This one's not too bad. And hopefully it's not going to be a problem, but so far, by all appearances, it looks like an inexpensive handgun. It doesn't have quite the finish of a 6-hour, obviously. Even the finishing up here, it's hard to tell, but you can see the machining on it. It's not the cleanest, but you know what? For $329. You can't really complain. As a 226, most of you have a 6-hour 226, or if you didn't know this, this is a single and double action pistol. So in other words, whether the hammer is cocked or not, you can still fire the gun. And the other thing that I really liked about this was that it gives the students that I have at the club something different to operate. One of the things that we like to do is obviously teach people to use all sorts of different firearms so that they get comfortable with all of the mechanisms. So I needed one that had a decocker. This is a perfect way to do that. The other thing is the magazines that it comes with. It came with 2 magazines, and they're kind of stamped, and they're not too bad, but they got lots of marks on them. I mean, it doesn't, it's obviously not 6-hour quality. But for the price, who's going to complain? Comes with a cleaning rod, a couple of extra springs, which is always kind of nice. And the best part is it operates exactly like a 6-hour, like I said. So if you wanted to take the pistol down, it's quite simple. You just rack it back, lock the slide back, push down on the takedown lever, and then release the slide. Now the two should come apart quite easily. Let's put the lower down. Let's flip this over and have a look inside. Now, I noticed that the machining is probably just about as good as the GSG. So both of them are inexpensive firearms, and I guess that's what we should expect. Let me move this out of the way just for a second. And let's get back to this. Our slide is quite, actually, there is no oil in this thing. There's absolutely no grease, no oil. There's very little lubricant, if any at all. Typically when Norinco ships stuff, it's just covered and drenched in it, and you have to basically wipe it all down and clean it, and you know, before you can even take it to the range. The other thing I noticed is there is a little bit of rust happening on this one. Let's take a look. And yeah, hard to tell, but you know, there's very little oil on this thing. I think we're going to have to do a good cleaning and a good lubrication before we take it out. Also, I don't know if you can see that in there. Let's see if we can do it that way. But there's the swirl marks from the machining, and so the machining is not 100% smooth. The actuators in here are actually, they look pretty good. It looks like the spring tension on the extractor is good. The slide itself doesn't look too bad. Now, the one thing I have to say is these dots are painted on, and this one, hard to tell, fell out. So I've got one dot and one half dot. And up here, the dot looks like it's about to fall out. And I bet you if I pick at it, I can probably take out most of it. So, you know, don't expect much from the Norinco, but tomorrow when we take it up to the firing range, hopefully it'll perform well. But later on today, what we'll do is I'll probably lubricate it, make sure that it's all functioning properly, and then take it out. This is bone dry, and so is the spring. So we're going to probably have to take care of that before we take it up to the range. Let's take a look at the lower. The lower itself, again, very dry, little rust marks right there, and it needs a lot of lube. There's zero lube in here. As a matter of fact, it's pretty dry. I've never seen one come like this from Norinco, and I've seen a few products from Norinco. Having said that, though, the firearm does feel pretty good. It feels about the right weight. It feels about the correct size, feel. It operates quite the same. As a matter of fact, when you release the slide, you can see that the top of the barrel has not been painted in the black. They've kept it polished, shiny, and the barrel does lock into the top of the slide, just like a regular 6-hour 226. Now, let's hope it performs well. But even if it didn't, I'm still pretty happy with the purchase. I think it may just require a little bit of tweaking. But just to make me happy, they also gave me one of these. And of course, stickers always make me happy.